Okay, so now we're in the string collections. So in this particular section, or this chapter in this section, we're going to delve more into how we can use strings, and we're going to do a little bit more breaking down. Like I said, I planted some seeds early on, so now we're about to cultivate it. We're going to cultivate it a little bit more so that you can get a better understanding of what is going on. So a recap. What did we learn so far up until this point? So I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want you to put the answer inside of the comments. What is a variable? What is a variable used for, and why we use them? What are the primitive data types? There's 7. And what makes a primitive data type different from an object? Giving you a way to think through the process and remember what you've already learned up to this point. Because now, one of the things that we're going to talk about today is strings. So if you're new to this channel and you're just finding this content, the curriculum is free. The link is in the description, and you're welcome to follow along. It's a great resource. Again, share with anyone that's learning how to want to learn coding, or that's struggling with coding, or you may know someone that you're working with that's struggling. These videos may help them get a better understanding. So let's hop right into the curriculum. Here we go. Strings as collections. Throughout the first chapter of this book, we had used strings to represent words or phrases we wanted to print out. Our definition of a string was simple. A string is a sequence of characters inside quotes. In this chapter, we explore strings in much more detail. Strings come with a special group of operations that we can be carried out on them, known as methods. Strings are also what is called a collection data type. Let's look at what this means. Here we go. Collection data types. Data types that are comprised of smaller pieces are called collection data types, or simply collection types. So these are two phrases. Remember, we said that when we bolded, these are some key phrases we want you to really understand. So you want to understand the collection data types. This is another seed we're planting. Depending on what we are doing, we may want to treat a value of a collection data type as a single entity. Entity, that's another word. Think about the whole collection is why we put it in parentheses. Or we may want to access its parts. We can do that, but there's a way to do it. A character is a string that contains exactly one element, such as a, or a question mark, or even an empty string, a single space. Basically, it's empty, but it's actually something there. It's an actual space, and it is represented on the ASCII table, which we're going to talk about that later. Like I said, I planted that seed early on, so now you're ready to kind of dig a little bit deeper to get an understanding of what I was talking about. So, note, some programming languages, such as Java and C, represent characters using their own data type. For example, Java has the data type char. JavaScript, however, does not consider strings and characters to be different types. That has to make sense to you, because we although the string is a collection now, meaning a sequence and a group of things that's in a sequence, it's still individual characters. But in JavaScript, when we put something between those quotes, it's a collection. But there are times we need to separate those things. And we're going to show you how to do that with certain methods. But remember, we said that length is a method. I want to make sure you separate the two. That's actually a property, because it doesn't have parentheses. Anything without parentheses is a property. But technically, we're correct when we say it's a method, because when you get over into React, it's going to be a little confusing, but this is why we want to be able to understand the rules and principles now, so later on you'll know the difference. Okay, let's get back into the curriculum. So here, we can think of strings as being built out of characters. In this way, strings can be broken down into smaller pieces. So to our eye, we see JavaScript as a word, but technically it's broken down to individual characters. And each one of these characters is assigned a value and assigned a code that is able to be picked up on in the what we call the high level, low level, the low level of a computer program that reads it with binary or hexadecimal. So we're about to break it down a little bit more for you. So strings are made up of smaller pieces, characters. Other data types like numbers and booleans are not composed of smaller parts. We got to know the difference here. Strings are, but not numbers and booleans. Order of collections. We define strings as sequential collections of characters. This means that the individual characters that make up the string are assumed to be in a particular order from left to right. The string LaunchCode is different from the string code launch, even though they contain the exact same characters. Collection types that allow their elements to be ordered are known as ordered collections, for reasons that will become more clear to you very soon. So I want to take my time through this particular chapter, and I want to break down. I know in the last chapter I kind of combined some of the sections, but I don't want to make these videos too long because I don't want to lose you as far as your attention. So we're going to stop the video here, and we're going to pick up in the next section, and we're going to talk about those bracket notations, because I want to make sure I spend time breaking down each section for you and not rush through it. So that's the end of this video. Remember, the more you do, the more you improve. See you in the next